Hello, everyone. We're in the studio of GCOD. He's releasing on Ascending for the third time, and we're super happy to have him with a 4-track club weapon called Number 6. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's a bit early in the morning, right?
Yes.
Are you ever in the studio at this time of the day?
No, rarely.
No?
Usually it's evenings or afternoons, kind of. More.
So you're more the producer who likes to have like this clubby atmosphere, like maybe a beer, the colleagues outside.
Exactly.
Well, props for you to coming out today. And congrats for the new EP.
Thank you.
Are you happy with it?
Yes, very happy. I think these are like 4 tracks that I've been sitting on for I guess quite a while, and they've worked for a long time, and I really like them.
Which one is your favorite one?
I think Demon Dogs Don't Bark, I think, is a standout track for me, not because it's better than the other tracks. I just like the sound design for the synths. I really like tickle something in my brain.
How did you get to these specific sounds?
I think I'm definitely inspired by like the modern techno sample sounds, and then kind of like processing a lot, trying out things, and then when it gets like weird but in a level where it's still contained, I think I really like that.
You like the weird sounds, right?
Yes, yeah, more alienish kind of sci-fi sounds.
Shall we? Let's have a little look or a listen.
Yes,
have a little listen into it. Demon Dogs Don't Bark. Now, I know some people have like really big stories behind their track titles. What about you?
I don't really kind of have this big story or inspiration behind my track names. I think it's what goes through my head, or if I've watched a movie or seen something special that inspires me, I think that's what inspires the track titles, but there's not like a big thought behind like the music and the connection between the track titles.
What about the sampling? Do you have like the voice samples? Where do you get these from?
The voice samples?
You have a lot in your tracks, like snibbled up or layered or...
I mean, I think it depends. It's just like vocal samples in general, and then just like processing them in a way to make it sound like I want it to sound. So it doesn't really matter where the vocal sample is from in general.
How would you describe like your general sound? What does GCOD sound like?
Definitely say kind of like sci-fi-ish, but driving kind of techno. I don't know. I think it's a minimal kind of driving techno with kind of like more sci-fi alienish sounds in between to make it kind of like special. I think in that kind of way, but club driven tracks are definitely made for the club.
So you think about actually the club when you produce. Like, do you have these moments when you produce something, go like, oh, I shouldn't do this because the DJ is going to hate me then?
Yes.
When?
I mean, I think it definitely in terms of like arrangement more or what kind of sounds would fit in a club environment. I think if you make an arrangement more difficult to play, I think that's when I like, okay, change it up so it's more simple to play and layer with other tracks. I think that's most important.
Do you test your tracks?
Yes, definitely. When I have the chance to play them, I definitely try to play them at times at my gigs and kind of see how the feedback is.
Yeah. So what is your biggest producer fail ever? I start with a fail. I'm going to come to the hack afterward.
I think only producing and being kind of like stuck in that bubble and not, I think the misconception of only doing this is the way to go. I think to a certain extent it is very important to have like phases where you only produce, but it's important to have a balance also with like going to work, going to school, seeing friends, doing sports. I think that helps elevate the producer game.
It has to be like a mixture of everything,
exactly,
right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Or you get this tunnel,
Yeah.
and then like, yeah.
All your tracks sound the same, and then they sound all like really bad.
So what about your producer hack, GCOD producer hack?
My producer hack, I think trying out sounds, processing a lot, and really kind of experimenting with different plugins, and don't be scared to completely destroy a sound.
Yeah.
And just push the limits to what the sample is capable of.
Yeah.
I think that's a producer hack, I guess.
I think that's also something that describes you really well, because you have like you really have a very unique style. Your style is like also like given it's something you hear sounds like, oh, that sounds like GCOD. So your diversity comes with the sounds you put in there, like the rhythm and the style is like so you, but the sounds on top you play with are really diverse in each track. So do you have like this? If you like have a blockade and you don't come any further, what do you do then?
I usually take a break from producing. I think I definitely have a tendency to maybe sometimes, or not as much nowadays, but earlier on I used to kind of lock myself in the studio and kind of like distance myself from friends and whatever is going on outside, and kind of create this little bubble where like I would only produce kind of like similar stuff, and then that's usually when I run into blockades. But then I would usually just like take a break. I was like, okay, for 2 weeks, I'm not touching Ableton. I'm not producing. I'm going outside, doing stuff with friends, doing sports and stuff. So to kind of get like that distance, I think definitely distance from creating gives then more inspiration to create later on. Yeah. You
also told me before that you create almost best when you actually don't have the time for it. So by the way, this is Thibaut. I didn't really introduce him yet. That's the man behind GCOD. And Thibaut you're doing your master in BWL, right?
Yes.
So you told me before that when you have a lot of time, like when you're on holiday and stuff, you don't produce often as good as when you're in stress. Why that?
I think it goes back to the kind of like simple principle of like, if I have nothing else going on, like my brain doesn't really feel the certain pressure to do something. But when there's like a lot of stuff going on and I see, okay, I have a small time window to kind of go on Ableton and do something, then it's usually like everything that I've had built up kind of like pressed out into like 2 hours, which usually kind of just like the tracks then create them like by themselves, or created by themselves. Like I don't really have to do that much. It just kind of like flows out. But when I'm on holidays or have like a lot of free time, it usually is like, okay, I have all day today. Like, do I really want to, like, I don't have to stress myself. I don't know. I don't really have to stress myself in that same way. And so that's what I think.
And I also think you have to be like mentally prepared. No, it takes a lot from you to produce and to be in this whole scene, in the whole game of the electronic scene. It takes a lot. How do you perceive that?
I mean, how do you mean takes a lot? Like a lot of energy? Or
a lot of energy, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, I really enjoy going out. I think it's really important also to go out. If you make electronic music or DJ, I think to kind of see what's going on, what the people enjoy, what the sounds are that are like the people like and stuff. But I mean, there's times where I can't take it and I could just kind of like to pull back, like stay at home, not go out. But I think it's definitely being surrounded with people that I really enjoy, like my friends, like other like DJs and producers. I think it's really inspiring, and so I enjoy being that kind of environment most of the time.
Most of the time, when not?
I mean, when you're kind of stressed out, I think when you've gone out a lot and then your body's kind of like hitting at a limit, I think that's when I have to say like, okay, I have to take a pause and pull back maybe.
You have a lot of connections. You're like pretty deep in the electronic scene in music, I think, in Switzerland. Is there something you like miss here in the scene where you think we could do more work? Or
definitely, I think producer side, like producing, we have a lot of very good DJs here in Zurich. I mean, Zurich and Switzerland in general. But I think producers, it's starting to come now, but it's definitely like lacking compared to other countries and other cities. I think there could definitely be more representation, like I guess like labels, or bigger producers that kind of like inspire other DJs to be like, okay, I want to start producing and not only DJ, or people just want to start producing in general. I think kind of like have that backing of like big labels in the city is missing for me here.
How did you start? How did you get did you have like people around you, peers that showed you, made the entry for you a bit easier?
Definitely. I think I used to produce hip hop. I think like a lot of people who start producing techno, I think produce hip hop first, because I don't know why, but it's something
I didn't. But I'm sure it helps,
it's something I've realized. But I started producing hip hop when I was like 16, and then I kind of did that on and off because I thought I liked it, I enjoyed it. And then once I met the other founder of Zima, Ron Benke, he kind of showed me techno and then all that around that, and then he was also producing, and then he kind of got me into like, okay, I'm going to start producing techno now. And then kind of through him and then through his like connection and as well with the studio here, kind of have like that entryway to, okay, like I have this, like I want to start producing like seriously in that kind of aspect.
We're going to do a little go through after the studio, so we see, because it's pretty cool. You have like a room where you can play, you have a bar outside. So this is for you and the Zima boys, I say, but you're boys, all guys, right?
No, we have Megix.
Oh.
She's also part of Zima. She also comes here and then shares the studio with us.
Yes, oh cool. And it's like you have label parties and you're just also a music label, right?
Yeah, we started being more of a record label than a party label, kind of like, I'd say like a year ago or half a year ago, and we started releasing EPs.
Yeah. Cool. So you share this with like this pult we're sitting on with the other. Yeah.
Yes.
There's not so much hardware. You produce digital only, you told me, mostly.
Yeah. I think it's the easiest. I think there's so much you can do with the laptop nowadays. Yeah. But hardware is definitely not a bad thing to get into. I think the sounds you create are definitely very unique in that aspect when you do hardware. But it's a lot of, I think you really have to get into it as well, and you really have to want to get into hardware. Yeah. We have a new toy. No, we saw you with the new toy, though. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But that one's at home. I think that's more because I want to create kind of like a live set. Yeah. I want to perform live as well. Yeah. And I thought the Akai Force was like the way to go there. Yeah.
Well, the future's open. You can still we see where you are in 10 years. Well, where do you think you're going to be in 10 years?
That's a great question. Hopefully still doing this. I mean, I really enjoy it. I think it's a big part of me, Thibaut. But I don't know. Maybe I'll be producing with more hardware. I guess we'll see.
Or having your own live set.
Yes. Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, we're going to look forward to that. I have a funny question. I don't usually do this. I just asked like ChatGPT what funny question she would ask to a Swiss techno producer. And she said, what animal if your sound would be an animal, what animal would it be?
Probably a hyena or something. I don't know. Yeah. Kind of like, how do you say that? Frech?
Yeah, cheeky.
Cheeky, yeah. Kind of like cheeky sound. Kind of like fast and, I don't know. That's the first thing that popped in my mind for some reason.
I love that. I love hyenas because all the people think they're like ugly or don't like them. I think it's like, I'm always for the outsiders.
Yeah, exactly.
Not that I think you're an outsider. All right, our first ascending hot or not with GCOD. Preparing playlists for sets.
Hot.
Yeah? You do it?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people go like, don't prepare your sets.
I think don't limit yourself too much. Don't do like a strict structure, but I think have an overall general vibe. I think it's nice to kind of go back to a playlist, and you can always get out if you need to.
I do the same.
Yeah.
Mixed in key.
That's difficult. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. For like techno, not. But for like other genres of electronic music, hot, definitely.
Samples.
Hot, yeah. Very hot.
Very hot. Yeah. Where'd you get yours from?
Sample packs from other artists, or just in general, kind of like just like from movies or from YouTube, kind of like download them and then use them in your tracks.
Digital.
Hot. Yes.
Analog.
Also hot, I guess, yeah.
AI.
Not, I guess, but in general, I think I would say hot, but for music, not.
You never used it? I never did too.
No.
Social media.
I'd say it's always kind of like this balance. I think not, because if you only use social media to get famous, then it's kind of like not genuine, but I think it's definitely needed to extent, and it's very useful to connect also with kind of like the outer world and not just being like your only scene. So in that aspect, hot.
Like as much as possible, as much as needed, as less as possible.
Exactly. Yeah.
People dancing behind you in the DJ booth.
Oh, hot. Yeah.
Handies in the clubs.
Not.
No, me neither. And now that, I wonder what you're going to say. B2Bs.
Ooh, hot.
Yeah?
I think if it works, then definitely hot. But if it's forced, then just for the promoter to be able to put more DJs on the lineup, not.
It's horrible, right? It can be the worst experience of your life, exactly. Or like one of the best. If you like push yourself and
Exactly.
That was it.
Thibaut, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming here, for being here, and thank you so much for your EP. We're really so happy and so proud to have it on Ascending.
Thank you.
Thanks.